Um, Well, good morning. I'm seeing if this works today. Okay, that's live. By the way, do we have 4K available? I'm not sure if this is all working as it should, but let me know. 4K, Twitch, YouTube. Subtitles? Live and subtitles on Twitch, nice. But how about 4K? On YouTube for sure, that's good. Only 720 on Twitch, that's not good. Interesting. That's not good. They said it would work. They lied. So let's see, I could probably figure out a way around it. How will I do it? I could probably set up a discrete stream for just Twitch to maintain the 4K there. I guess for today it'll just be 720. I think Restream is not handling it well. I've decided to try Restream out because in theory we should also be live on TikTok, though I have no idea how that's going to work. Anybody able to see that at all? TikTok? I wanted to really test it out to see what would happen. But I'm not even sure if it works. Just thought it would be interesting. Alright, now that guy ran the red light, we can go. Alright, well at least let me say hello before things get out of control. Good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday morning. Comfortable low 60s for this walk. The sun is coming up. We're not out as early as last Wednesday. Ambrose Chamberbot, good morning. Kevin Hawthorne, Beauty of Creative, Philip Maxwell, Deshwatan, Florence Schwartz, Nomad, Bear in the Garden, John Jack, Con Burness, Lynn and Graham, RJ Wardheimer, hello. Good morning. Molly Chamber, good morning. Cooper Time, good morning. Relax, Colleen, good morning. Christian Gregory, hello. Now we can make this. The bus ran the light anyway. I think it all works out. What was that? Couldn't name it. Yes, hi. Jack Moore, hello. Jeffrey Wu, good morning. MM, hello. Quack, good morning. Bear in the Garden official, good morning to you on all the platforms. Ron Nelson, good morning. Zither99, good morning. Maybe, supposedly Restream does a lot of support also, so maybe I'll reach out to Restream later and ask, like, you know, when I was doing my own restreaming, I had no issues going to 4K on Twitch. So, what's up? Another bot on Kick. Hello, bot on Kick. Marion C, good morning. Gerard Sedan, good morning. Hilda Mossy, hi. Ron's not getting 4K on the phone. Not Quacky is here. Yeah, someone mentioned to me Quacky Snacks was having some issues with their account or something. I had to check to see if you were on like the banned list inadvertently for our channel, but no, I didn't find you there. I'm not sure if I had to change your name, but good to see you. Or like why maybe you have to make a new account or something, but yeah, I'm not sure what happened. Tomoko in Yokohama, good morning. Michael Franco, good morning. There was a false start yesterday. I was doing some testing with Reream, and I didn't stop it in time. Before I realized it went live and sent notifications everywhere. But it's all part of the game. Everything's always a test. Nothing should surprise you anymore, but also good morning with Gilly. Margie, good morning. Justin S., good morning. What does it look like, RJ, on the tickety-tockety? Wizard, good morning. This up the top is not young enough to have a TikTok. I know some folks who I was surprised to hear they have a TikTok. So anything is possible these days. Wallace, happy Wednesday. MJ805, hello. Charlene Sluderbeck, good morning. This guy's waiting to turn, but we can cross left. While the car behind, yeah, we have plenty of room to turn. I just don't want to get stuck. Hey, they promised me this wouldn't rotate like that, but it did. My screen. I put on something called Smart Rotate. It's supposed to look at the direction of your face. But I guess if I'm walking, then it's correct. All right, whatever. What does it look like on TikTok? Is it like a stretched out version, or is it horizontal? Is it landscape mode? Let me know. Oh, Kick is all screwy? Interesting. So I'll have to reach out to Reream support about that. I think it has to do with me sending a 4K signal, but Reream promised, one of their directives, they promised to, well, that guy's sleeping. They're supposed to readjust every stream for the requirements of that platform. How about Rumble? Is Rumble working? Rumble is usually pretty lax about what kind of video formats it accepts. I'm only live on 5 right now. It sounds like maybe Twitch and Kick I still have to do manually. I see somebody on Kick. Is it working for you, 3500 V6? Somebody was, Bear in the Garden was just saying that Kick keeps going on and off. But it's working for you? He was supposed to let us cross in the crosswalk, but he didn't. Anyway, I gave him the old pizza hand. Well, when I say pizza hand, I mean, like this. Like, what's up? Pizza hand. I wonder what TikTok looks like. Michu, good morning. Laura, good morning. Ron enjoyed the 4-minute stream last week. Oh, you mean the slideshow one? I saw your comment. I see everything. Crazy Red, doing all right? How are you? Twisted Dick, good morning. TikTok appears horizontal, got it. Kick is down for Luke Skywalker, got it, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Reream is supposed to make it work. Can't reach Rumble. Interesting, so Rumble's not working either? I don't know about this Reream then. I don't know. Yeah, 3500, I don't know, Kick's not working. Am I interested in the new iPhones coming next week? I mean, I'm curious to see what they'll offer. because the better they are, the better it is for consumers, since there's more competition. The thing is, though, like for Google, I feel like they don't care. They have some sort of a loyal fan base, which I guess I'm part of. I'm aware that it's not the best. But yeah, like they're not really keeping up with the pack. And they may be also falling behind on photo stuff too, just camera in general. Especially if they're going to be relying on this 100x AI zoom, which completely makes stuff up sometimes. Somebody took an image of like a power line or something, and it had a transformer box on it, and there was something blurry as part of that box. It was not an animal, but it turned it into like the perfect eagle with a ProRes zoom. Amazing. Out of thin air. All right, so if Restream won't be able to fix our issues, we'll just have to figure it out. I'll ask them about the support, and if they don't do it, they'll just cancel it and go back to the way we usually were doing it. Stream was fine on MySpace. I'm curious if the TikTok one is even doing anything, since this is my first time even trying to go live on it. And it's apparently landscape. And the other part with TikTok is the juice is probably not worth the squeeze, in the sense that if you're using third-party software on TikTok, apparently your content is supposed to be gaming related, which doesn't fully make sense to me. I tried to search for IRL in the options, and I found something called IRL the game. I guess consider this IRL the game, right? I guess it's a real game too, but what else have I missed? Twisted Angvid on Twitch and the 720p crowd today. Don't know why it's not going better, but it's a restream issue, I guess. Rumble is working. Okay, good. I know I was up before. Francisco B, good morning. Beyond Adventurous, good morning. TikTok's selling worth it if you're selling stuff. Well, I guess I gotta sell something now. I was thinking about making a course. No. I can't with those courses. Everyone's got their online course. How to become an influencer. How to sell on Shopify. I don't know. It is kind of like IRL Frogger, that's right. Carl C, good morning. Did I miss you, Sue? I did. Good morning. What else is new? Carl C, people are commenting on TikTok? Oh, interesting. So let me switch my view to the, 5 seconds, all right. I opened up Restream, which is supposed to have chat for everything that I'm streaming to. Okay. Okay, they're starting to come through. We got another bot on Kick. I guess that's how you know they're bots, even when there's nothing actually playing properly. Soulless Perfectionist here. Hello. Let me look at settings. There's a primary stream. We already know that. Advanced settings? Nope. Oh, great. Quacky with a €6 super chat. Happy hump day. Thank you, Quacky, for that support. Very much appreciated. Happy hump day. I feel like the shoes are a little bit better on slippery sidewalks. I don't know if I had to rough up the rubber a little bit before it started gripping better, but it seems to be okay. Whose burger on, huh? I'm gonna call out all the typos today. Okay, so if people are still commenting on TikTok, I guess I can't see it. Because, no, we can still make this. Because it's not popping up. Wow, T-Mobile says I've already used 48 gigs of data on my main line. How? They're gonna throttle me after this. I probably need to think about switching my main cell phone line over to something else that doesn't throttle after data. Maybe I will go to Google Fi. I'm just nervous to do anything to my T-Mobile plan because I got like 5 lines going on it for a bunch of money. Not that much, actually, for a good price. 140. They've been slowly creeping up with the taxes and fees. Yeah, I don't see any comments on TikTok on Restream. Let me check the actual app. How do I tell? I don't even know. Don't even know how to tell how to access my own live on TikTok. All right, going back to Restream. I mean to Stream Buddy. Yeah, and this must have been since end of August. So I don't know what we did to. I mean, I'm sure watching my little viewfinder is doing part of it, but still. Is 3500 complaining about me crossing the red light again? It's not illegal here. Where was I? Damien's here, good morning. Miss Sabrina, good morning. Soulless Perfection, it's not... I was working on using a newer streaming... Well, not newer, a different streaming platform, Restream, to be able to stream to multiple places at once. But it looks like it's not the best. It seems to not send video properly to a few platforms, at least 2 of them, even if TikTok is working. That's I don't know. The more intriguing part to me about it was that it automatically updates the title and it spreads it across all the platforms. Propagates it is probably the word that I'm looking for. Propagates the title. But if you can't get the streaming part right, then that's no good. I'll probably reach out to them and ask. By the reservoir? Probably not. We usually don't go exactly that route here. How dare I legally jail? Oh, that's right. It's illegal. It's legal. Let's check on our sea lions. They're swimming. Deborah, good morning. I think I missed Yvette also. Hi. Tom, good. Hello. Good morning. Unfortunately, when things go like this, I know we usually try to follow it up with an afternoon stream. to resolve the issues, but I don't think I'll be able to today. If you see any tests come up, I'll try to get them out of the way quicker. But you may still see a random going live notification. I hope not. But yeah, it looks like Restream ain't it. Unless anybody can tell me what's going on TikTok. We do? We have a bunch of likes on TikTok? Interesting. I just wish I could see the chat there. Restream said I can read chat on all my services. Oh yeah, no, it says Kick and Rumble unable to connect. It says to lower bitrate below 8,000 to avoid cutoffs. Yeah, but I thought I don't know how to change that at this point. All right. Uh-oh, hold on a second. Everything's getting weird. No, I think we're okay. What are people saying on TikTok? I'm going to go to chat settings. Can I not see TikTok messages? We're not getting any new followers, so I don't know how well it's working. Oh, you found the TikTok, Luke? Nice. Does it say how many people are watching? I'm curious. Doesn't say anything for me on my end. Poober, hello? Tiny Casaram, hi. Susie Q with 55 months of membership. Loves the Woodsy Wednesdays. Thank you for the incredible support. I can't believe there's a few people that are close to 60 months. It's really wild to me. Oh, 9 people are on TikTok? That's cool. But it is landscape, horizontal view, right? It's not vertical. Sheila, good morning. Maybe we'll take a seat on the bench and I'll go back to the original format. How about that? Do you think it's worth it to add things to TikTok? I don't know. When TikTok goes to landscape, does it also rotate the chat for you? Or is there a mismatch? Does the chat continue to be in portrait mode while the content is in landscape? I don't know. Should we quickly readjust back to original or just keep going? It's not diagonal. Tom Bach, good morning. Try going back to the original. We'll lose TikTok, but it's probably not a big loss. I guess. No, like if the content is horizontal like this, yeah, let me see, is it gonna rotate? Now it's not working on my phone. There it is. Does the chat, like, is it readable in the same orientation? I think they're okay. You know what? Maybe I'll leave it for now. There's a possibility I can actually use Restream to Oh, the horizontal video. Oh, it's like it doesn't overlay on the screen? That's interesting. I'm still confused based on the descriptions. I just want to make sure that the text is in the same orientation, like that it's not 90 degrees rotated. That's correctly positioned. But I think what I can do instead, since Restream allows streaming to multiple services, is go back to the free version of Restream and maybe keep TikTok on there and go back to my original version of streaming. Because I think it wouldn't cause any issues, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Oh, yeah, we always get glitches under there. Sorry, I forgot to warn you. Oh, cool. Oh, so TikTok looks fine. I think. Huh. It keeps the orientation rather correctly. Gamer X, thanks for the follow. I know, Christian, I know. Abby's here, good morning. My voice, like, give up for a second? Was that lag? Feels like there's like an allergy tickle. In the tracheal region. We'll see. I forgot TikTok has desktop mode or version. I guess you could just go to the website. Bowbridge. Dakota's back there being sun drenched at the top. Dakota behind the trees. Strawberry fields right in front of it. Some pigeons. It is a nice morning, right, Steve? Okay, so I have some ideas on how to still maintain the talk. It seems like Restream doesn't show chats from it anyway, so it doesn't matter much. But we'll see. The ramble's an easy place to get lost, especially when all the leaves are on the trees. Yeah, that looks like poison ivy. Not all of this, though. Not all of it. Oh, actually, no. No, all of it. Yep. I thought maybe... You see, I saw this one here, and I thought maybe this is 5 leaves, but it's not. It's a second branch under it, like almost exactly the same. So this is all poison ivy. All of that in there is poison ivy too. Who else did I miss? Photos is here, Lobo is here. Good morning, good morning. Yeah, it's all poison ivy over there. Exciting. Let's take a dip. Poison ivy also likes shade. I don't know about grapevines. I think they don't mind sun as much. But poison ivy does not really grow in direct sunlight. I don't think I like this smart rotation. I'm going to fix this auto rotation nonsense. Smart auto rotate screen. Just disable that. Okay, that's better. Let me close the Restream window, open my, going back to split screen. Photos on Twitch too. Yeah, Twitch friends, sorry about the 720p highest resolution on Twitch. It's not you, it's me. I was testing Restream. They claim you could send them a video feed and they'll adjust it in the back end for whatever platform it's going to make sure it works, but it seems like it didn't. And I don't know that it's worth reaching out to support. Although the one thing I haven't seen yet is how it does the AI clips. I decided to sign up with the AI clipping feature on Restream just to see. But we'll see. Denise, good morning. Anthony Butcher, good morning. Get a refund? I don't know. What did you pay for on Twitch? I do like that the bots are still on Kick, sending stuff. See, fascinating. That's a I think there's a term for that in programming. When you do something wrong, but you still get the right result. Because the weather just looks up New York anyway. But if you want to be more specific with you have to actually put weather lookup, all one word. What's the term for that? I know there's a term for it in programming. I mean, it's all thanks to the people who wrote the software that I used. The rest is just me spending a bunch of money to make it work since I need multiple services. But thank you. What kind of bird is that? Ah. Nobody, good morning. There is somebody with the username nobody or the display name nobody on YouTube. So if anybody else is wondering from somewhere else, that's the reason I say nobody, good morning. It's not some joke. Well, maybe it is, but not for me. The term is dumb luck. Oh, Steve Smith starts up the NES game Kids Picks again. Rad Racer. Hates it but keeps playing it. We all had those games. Ramble, no B in the front. The second spelling you put. Who's on YouTube? Nobody. Who dat Dave is here with the serendipity. Hello. Alright, let's keep moving. Yeah, I'm not going to bother interrupting the stream. You know, actually what I could do, you know what? Here's what I could do. I'm bringing Kick back to life. Watch this. Oh, man, I have to. Actually, no. Here's what I can do. Remote, desktop. Let me at least keep giving you a view while I mess around. Remote desktop, unraid. Okay. Disable this one. Disable. Uh-oh, an error has occurred. What? You're telling me I can't disable Rumble? Uh-oh. Okay. Now it's disabled. How about Kick? Okay, and then let me go to Kick here and click Start. And then let me go to Rumble here and click Start. All right, let me know if they're back now. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Posture check, thank you. Dun 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 dun. Strange things in the park? I mean, not really. The strangest things is probably the spandex monsters. Rumble is back and Kick is back. And everything is working with okay frame rates. Alright, so I know how to kind of mitigate, but Twitch is still on 720, right? And now if I actually go back and turn on Twitch, we're probably going to get frame rate issues. You know, if I turn it back on the other way. So yeah, I think I'm going to have a different idea of what to do. Okay. We'll keep TikTok going since I can't read the chat on Restream anyway. I'm going to use the opportunity to just update it. And we'll keep going until TikTok says it's not a gaming stream and they get mad. It is interesting. We are getting a couple of new followers. It could just be folks from this stream who are checking it out. All right, so this is the crosswalk. I think, what does it say here? Let me see what it says. It says, stop here for pedestrians. So the sign is to stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk. It didn't look like any of the spandex monsters were interested in slowing down their speed racing. It's very serious business. RG's heading out, have a good one. Fighting Nightbot on the way out. Move at haste, yes. Isla Zelia, thanks for the follow and hello. Doing all right, how are you? We're sorry for being only 720p on Twitch today. We'll fix that up for the next stream. We'll get it back up to 4K, I think. What's going on? Okay, I see what it looks like there's a reroute, but it's not. We're good. That's a red oak tree right up ahead.
Get it to the point where every 2 weeks they'll be.
Keep it simple. It's not like in a building.
Almond, Tasmania, hello. Yeah, them exactly. Post haste. Some urine art. Cool, Damien. I'll try. It's just unfortunate that I can't read the comments anyway. Not sure there's a way to mitigate that. But it seems like I can't do it even with the official restream anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'll figure out a way to keep it. I'll try. Try my best. Or at least a college try. Steve, good luck with the teaching. Robin Art. Nice. Alan Gobo. Good morning. Avril Stephen Loki, hi. If I miss anybody, apologies. If I duplicate anything, apologies. Who dat Dave's taking Manhattan. Are you gonna make a stop by any diners? Petrovic Hausmeister says I walk too fast. Well, this is the walking commuting stream where we're going to work. We're not leisurely walking today. When I do walk for just walking for the stream, non-work related, we take out the word commute or work from the title. I try to be mindful about that, and that's how we differentiate. Soul City Pops says I have to do some impressions for the TikTok people. Maybe. Should be good enough for now. Is LinkedIn available? I don't know. Yeah, doesn't LinkedIn also allow live streaming? Live streaming? I don't know what I just did. How many viewers are over on the talk now? Oh, Damien, have a good one. Joanne, good morning. Triple Decker Diner's too far to visit, but you're in the same city. That's right. It's in our blood. I mean, even if you're not from here, you kind of develop it anyway. The hustle. I don't remember seeing it on restreams services, but I'm sure it's there. Right now I'm wearing Brooks Ghost. I still have to put the Engo pads in there, but next time. Photos clarified my college try. Good. Thank you. Carpa Brodus, hello. They made Central Perk a liquor store, not a cafe like in Friends. Yep. Yep. Volvo. Sensible. Yeah, usually they only put out the recyclables or trash at least the day of pickup. How far I walk a day depends on the day. But usually on our commutes we try to hit at least 4 miles. We've really extended Fridays. Now there may be a chance, you know, because I've been kind of discussing with work about how my Mondays keep getting switched around, and I'd like to keep it somewhat more permanent if possible, because like, while it's interesting for the commute, like it's like restarting somewhere every time, and this takes time to build up again. So there's a chance that we may end up at the Friday location for 3 days out of the week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but because of that location, we could take multiple routes to get there. We'll keep the Friday commute as it is, and maybe we can change things up the other days. If this happens, this is all very early discussion, exploratory stages. We'll see. Alan's coming in spring. April's a good time to come. Appreciate that, Michael George. Yeah, I mean, I do follow some of Walks on Wall Street. He used to do a lot more live streams. Now it's a lot of real estate content, but I haven't been keeping up as much with the real estate stuff. How many bridge animals per week? We'll keep it the same. I'm not going to add bridges the other days. Well, I don't know that it actually improves the stream. I think having variety on the days is also helpful. So we're not doing the same exact commute Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but because of the location of that endpoint, we have a few ways we can travel to get there. Unfortunately, none of them go north. So we would lose Central Park. Now there's a way maybe I can finagle it. And then maybe we would have a true midday commute, but we'll see. We will see. Apartment coming along? I mean, it's pretty much done. I don't really know what other home automation stuff I want to do. Baby Commuter's bedroom doesn't have blackout curtains or blinds, so we're getting them installed tomorrow. But it just uses one of those cheap metal rotating chains. You know, the one that you just pull and it's a loop and it opens or closes and that's it. No, not the slats, whatever you call them. Just like a fabric blind that expands as you lower it, collapses as you raise it. Anyway, I want to see if there's any automation for those types of chains to make it easier to use. Like maybe make it rise in the morning to like let the sunlight in, and then you know, close it if the temperature inside gets too warm. That kind of automation. The other curtains aren't amenable to auto raising. They're pretty old, but they're supposed to be rather expensive. Hunter something curtains, I don't even know. But we'll see. Another bot on kick. Let's just go left. Bellinord, only murders in the building. Allie made it in, and Big as a Long Sean made it in during my rambling. Apparently we did make it on live on TikTok, Big as a Long Sean, but we broke a lot of other stuff. Kick and Rumble were not working, and Twitch is only 720. So we got that going for us. But I'm not... Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. It doesn't look like we're getting much more in terms of viewers on TikTok. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens. You enjoyed the times when I started at 5:30? I mean, we don't do that frequently. It's 5:30 in the morning. That's very rare, actually. I think it's really only been a handful of times that we've been out that early on a weekday. Guess we'll go right. Yep, they're deciding to go. Nope, they're not going. All right, let's go. I decided to throw $20 to Powerball the other day. Apparently, I won $8. Incredible. I think we can quit now. TikTok has survived every death thrown at it so far, so we'll see. That's one of the reasons I decided to give up on it the first time, and then never died, and then, you know, we'll see. We'll see. Yep. Well, where was I? Mr. Big Daz, good morning. Hunter blinds are big. So yeah, these are very old blinds too, but they still work well. It's just the ones in Baby Commuter's room weren't blackout curtains. That when the sun is glaring at them, it really gets in. Oh well. Yeah, Frontier, we probably just banned them right away. No questions asked anymore. Because if they can't figure that out on their own, this reminds me of a Bleach quote. If anybody watched Bleach, I don't know if you remember when the head captain was fighting two other captains in one of the earlier sagas, the Soul Society one. And then one of the vice captains was there, and she couldn't handle like being in the presence of the headmaster's power. And he said, "I don't have the patience to teach a child like you how to breathe." So I think I'll just channel that. $8 we're in. Reinvest $8. We're still down 12, but it's good enough. Jed, glad you're enjoying. Darby, good morning. Abby won 10 pounds. Yeah, I lost $12. Yeah, I mean, it's just gambling. Like in theory, there's no difference to just taking the money that you're going to use to buy a Powerball ticket and just putting it directly in the shredder. The result is going to be the same. Like, most likely, you're going to lose that money. Yeah, I mean, I guess the chance of it turning into $1 billion is never going to happen if you put it in the shredder. But the likelihood is still so low that it might as well be no chance. Konakovsky, thanks for the follow. But then you got the people who say, you can't win if you don't play. Just be responsible with your money. Don't like take out a second mortgage or something, a loan against your house, just to play the lottery, kind of a thing. I was up to. I think I was up to Konakovsky's following. Thank you again. Yeah, same principle for investing, Bear in the Garden. Don't invest what you aren't willing to lose. The lottery is the tax people who don't understand statistics. Ooh. The brutal truth. Enforcer, good morning. Quinton bet $20 on the New York Giants to lose this weekend. Well, let's see. Let us know how that works out. I'll probably forget, but you have to remind us. All right, this person's sleeping still. They're asleep in the car, even though they have a green light, so I'm going to go. That's right. When you're about to quit is when you're about to win. That's right. Don't quit. All right. Anything new going on with TikTok? Anyone still watching on TikTok? If you are on TikTok, I can't read your chats, unfortunately. But I don't know if we have any double agents from the main chat hanging out on TikTok. Krugen Schweiss, hello. Oh, it'll be better than the lottery. I see. They're more likely to lose, yes. Sorry, I probably misread everything. Luke is still checking out TikTok. What's the vibe over there? Is there anybody there apart from you? Fred Melisano, good morning. Hank P, good morning. Yeah, it really feels like they're setting up, a husband and wife versus husband and wife tag team with Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, CM Punk, and AJ Lee. Let's see. She's been out of wrestling for like 10 years now. Seemingly never coming back. Oh, it's very quiet on TikTok. Wow, yeah, I feel like we had more before. It's probably the horizontal format. It doesn't vibe well with TikTok's primary audience. I might be able to actually switch it over to vertical. I'll have to crop the image, but there's a possibility that I could do something. Because if all I'm going to be using Restream for is for TikTok, in theory, I can manipulate the output a little bit, maybe. Maybe. I'm not sure, actually. It depends on if the RTMP multi-plugin allows for it. I don't think it does, but oh well. Lowe's on the right? I'm not sure, unless you mean the subway. That's the subway station. There's a lot of pigeons on the other side. Auto brake, thanks for the follow. Yeah, one of the other things with the Restream is I don't get to use HLS for YouTube, which should in theory be a higher quality for the same bitrate stream. So yeah, I think it makes sense to go back and not pay for Restream. Yeah, maybe I'll be able to stream to Instagram and TikTok using Restream since you get 2 free services. But I'm not sure. Do live streams on Instagram? No, they don't appear in your feed, right? Like once the live stops, it's like not there anymore. So you don't have to worry about it cluttering up the rest of it. Maybe I will then. Norell's here. Good morning. Millport Dairy Farmers Market. They always bring very fresh produce, it seems. Powerball 1.3 billion, according to the sign on the stand. $1.3 billion. Chump change. The live appears on top of Instagram. Got it. Miss, no worries about donating. Just thank you for watching, and hopefully your move goes well. Nice, big as a long shot. I'll get my money back so fast. Okay, yellow's here. John Cassell, good morning. No Hell's Kitchen today. That's a bit south of us on the west side. So not today. Yeah, for Twitch friends, again, apologies about 720p max resolution. We got. Restream didn't deliver on what it promised. Or I didn't read right. One of the two. Stick Drift, thanks for the follow. On Twitch. I feel like I slowed down substantially. Oh well. Ariel the Urbanist. Yeah, he doesn't really stream much at all anymore, right? Just mainly does long form and some shorts. You know who started out doing primarily walking content, but then pivoted to like hotel reviews? Walk With Me Tim. He was around a few years ago doing primarily walks and live streams, and popped into the chat a couple of times back then, and really blew up, but doing travel, mainly hotel review videos. Gigi's here. I'm in your area. Have you gone to the new Silver Moon yet? I think it's over there. I think that's the location they're using for it. The blue spot. We walked by it last time. But good morning. Yeah, Walk With Me Tim. All right, I don't know what's happening anymore. Oh, will Flash Gordon go back to apartment reviews? I mean, it would be nice. If anyone remembers his old format, we've talked about it before. Oh, you've gone every day? Is it just as good? Is it better? Is it worse? Yeah, his original format was like going to see one or two apartments in a neighborhood. He would highlight the neighborhood, show the nearby local shops, like things you could do, and then tell you if the apartment has a sink spray or not. And that was it. Very, very, very different. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, it is working. That's the problem with the echo chamber of the viewership that he has right now. Chopping broccoli. That's Dana Carvey. Chopping broccoli. Can humans get fur balls? You can get bezoars. You can get bezoars if you eat a lot of inorganic material. So that's a possibility. So maybe that's like a fur ball equivalent. A bezoar. Bezoar. Must be settings. I don't know. I think it's restreamed. I think it's because I'm sending a 4K signal to restream, and it might not be able to properly adjust it down to 1080. I mean, he's making tons of money and using it. I mean, in reality, he's making tons of money crapping on the city that he's then using all that money to take advantage of living here, you know? Let's do a little zigzag here before we go to the park. Zabar in Twitch says, "Ужасная грязь на улице," says, like, ужасная is like, I don't know, is that like a hideous or terrible dirt on the street? I don't think it's that bad. Почему? He might have turned off a lot of viewers, but he definitely turned on a lot more viewers. One way or another. We'll see a side street before we go to the park. DJI Pocket 4 leaks, yeah, with a potential dual camera system. A full frame, didn't see that one yet. Curious. Oh yeah, didn't Taylor Bell did a walking stream too? Not a stream, but a walking video. But it wasn't even for Summer Streets, I don't think. Maybe the garbage, maybe, but I think they weren't expecting me to read their message in Russian, and now have left. Oh well. One cup of coffee from photos. I'll take extra. I like these little planters around the trees. Average Gamer, thanks for the follow on Twitch. Johnny Wilkers, good morning. It's overall quiet here, but you do hear the distant road noise of the West Side Highway. Oh, the Carlsbad's van is over here now. It's the summer of George. There's a cricket like in there somewhere. And I heard it, and it's like, is there a cricket in there? I thought maybe it was like on the left in the greens, but no, it's like in the vestibule over there. Photos. Dobre utro. Dobre utro. I don't know why I have to say it like that. I don't have to, that's the thing. Did anyone hear the cricket on the stream, or was that just audible to me? The cricket emoji seems to be working. Or is that's technically a grasshopper emoji, I think, isn't it? I'm not sure. It's a cricket doorman. Probably in the Union. Ha, cricket paddle, nice. Sabin M, good morning. Ah, you got me to say it. You did hear the cricket, okay. Well, I don't know what. Well, cicadas are super loud. All right, we made it to our park. Strauss Park. Oh yeah, and congrats to Yoange on 10K subscribers. I was watching, popping on and out of the top 10. Can't tell if there's a safe bench to sit on with some stuff on the ground, but it looks like it's fine. Okay, we made it. Okay. The cricket in Times Square. I don't know if I do. I was doing a cricket impression before. Not whatever I was doing just now. That was something. Yeah, maybe I should get that book for a baby commuter. Maybe she would enjoy it. Yeah, I think this is urine on the floor. Hopefully it wasn't on the bench too, but the bench looked clean. If it wasn't before, it's clean now. Well, maybe it's a battle between what's cleaner, my butt or the bench. Oh yeah, we need some raid suggestions. Yeah, no, I wouldn't know. Nearly 52 for me? Yeah, maybe by the end of 2027. George Selden? Got it. Well, I say got it, then I'll forget. Let me smell it to be sure. The bench or my butt? The cricket in okay, there's like a revised and edited edition. That seems like the better one. It has more reviews. Ah, that book, The Giving Tree, popped in. I think that's a sad book. All right. I'll get this one. I could even get it same day. It's not that serious. Yeah, New Year's, I mean, we get tons of viewers on New Year's. The worst part of New Year's is that I have not been able to maintain a stable connection through the ball drop. And I'm hoping having the Starlink helps out, but we'll see. I'm hoping the Starlink will help. I think I have to change out my primary phone service too. I think streaming the stream, it's the viewfinder also drains a lot of data, and I run through the 50 gigs very quickly. Then I get deprioritized, and getting deprioritized is concerning for because I use this for monitoring the stream in all situations, including like the Javits. So we'll see. Anyway, did we get a raid suggestion? Did I miss it before? Let me open up Twitch before I forget. Cult of the Ducks. Got it. Okay. Cult of the Ducks. Let me do that one. Cult of the Ducks. This one. Cult of the Ducks. Okay. We'll do Cult of the Ducks. It's almost like Bear in the Garden. No. All right. Ask Ryan Seacrest for the Wi-Fi password. I have a feeling somebody there has Wi-Fi access to one of the stores nearby. One of the streamers, because there were like one or two that had no service drops during the ball drop, and that's like very impressive. All right, I'm going to get out of this urine smell now. So thanks everyone for joining today. Hopefully you enjoyed the walk. I'm going to try to fix my stuff back to how it was before this, and maybe I'll keep TikTok too. I don't know. It depends how much. It depends. We'll see. Maybe not. But I'll fix the 4K on Twitch, I hope. As always, appreciate your super chats, super stickers, PayPal, Patreon memberships. Thank you, subscribers. Thank you, not subscribers. Thank you too. But if you're not subscribed and listening, do think about it. Helps us out. Helps other walkers out as well. Twitch friends, thanks for the follows and subs. If you are an Amazon Prime subscriber or payer, you have the option to use a Prime sub on Twitch too, which will get rid of ads on my channel for a month, if you want. But I thank you for the support. And again, a subscriber on Twitch is like a member on YouTube, so that's a premium form of support. Back to YouTube again. Thank you for the thumbs. And thank you to the mods everywhere. So have a great rest of Wednesday. We probably won't be back out later today. But we should be back on Friday morning for a commute down to Chinatown via a couple of bridges that are unnecessary but also very necessary. I really don't think so. If I did, it would be only for like 20 minutes, Quentin. Unfortunately, they stuck a very late meeting in, and I'm just gonna have to join that. So that's how it is. But I may still do some testing earlier just to get everything squared away for tomorrow. I can take like 20 minutes to fix this and that's it. But yeah. Okay. Until next time. Have a good rest of Wednesday, potentially Thursday, and we'll see you Friday morning. Well, definitely Thursday. We'll see you Friday morning. Until next time. Bye.